This morning is Brad Gilbert from Walmart. Good morning, Bradley.
Good morning, Becky.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday.
And it's Education Wednesday.
Yes.
We have Salem School Corporation. We have our own athletic director. We have Hank Whedon with us. Good morning, Hank.
Good morning.
And we have our principal. We got to sit up straight, Brad.
Yeah.
And
Sorry.
I just went like, wait, Luke Dean. Sorry about that, Luke. I was thinking about I need to sit up straight. And anyway, Luke Dean, our principal, new principal at Salem Community School, first year, and we're going to find out how that's going so far.
Yeah, good morning.
He's still with us. Luke has not left the building yet. Okay, it's a good sign. All right,
Yeah.
Brad, let's thank our sponsors this morning.
All right, we've got Meadowview Healthcare, Walmart, Salem Crossing, Hoosier Uplands, Americans for Prosperity, Mama Roses, Fox Lee Wealth Management, Dr. Blackside Associates, Dr. Mindy Gunn, Marshall Monuments, and McAllister Lane Consulting.
Yay, thank you to our great sponsors. Want to remind everybody this coming Saturday and Sunday will be the all famous Old Settlers Days. It's a lot of fun. And have you ever had parched corn and apple cider, Luke?
I have.
Isn't it? It's an all-time favorite, right?
Yep.
What about you, Hank?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. What about you, Ryan?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I actually volunteered last year and I helped use the apple cider press, so
Oh,
that
yeah.
was pretty fun.
Well, I was in Rotary, and they put that big, it's like a thing you walk around and you carry the drinks in. I was very popular,
Yeah.
with the apple cider. So that's all-time favorites. They also have the corn and beans, and the beans and cornbread will be also, of course, there'll be vendors set up. So it's a big time for our community to shine, and it goes from 10 to 4 Saturday and Sunday. 10-4, think it's 10-4, good buddy, 10-4. So anyway, that's this Saturday and Sunday. Also, we'll be talking high school football coming up. Salem will be at Eastern this Friday night.
Correct.
Exciting. Yeah, it's going to be exciting.
Yep.
It's always exciting. So this could really decide who actually will be the county champ, right?
Yes. Yep. So we still got to play Eastern and West Washington. So it's
Right.
it's up in the air right now.
Right. Yeah. Ooh. No pressure. Also, we'll have West Washington at Perry Central and Indiana Sports Talk at 9:30 till midnight. And then, of course, we have, Saturday we'll have Indiana Outdoors. Purdue will be at Wisconsin. And Indiana will be at Northwestern. And then the Colts will be at Jaggers on Sunday. So exciting football action. We're on to the second day of October. Who saw that coming? Today is Balloons Around the World Day. Have you ever been up in a hot air balloon, Hank?
I have not.
Would you do it?
Nope.
Okay. These feet are grounded, right?
Yep.
What
I have no interest in going up in a basket.
Up and away?
Yeah.
What about you, Luke?
I have not.
Would you do it?
I would. It
I
wouldn't
would.
bother me. Yeah.
All right, I'd like to know who's on the edge here, okay? Little
Yeah.
girl secret.
Yeah.
Like that. All right, what about Brad?
I've
Yeah.
been in a tethered hot air balloon, and I would definitely do that again, and I would definitely I'd like to do one that's not tethered and
Yeah.
just actually going.
Me
So
too.
yeah. And just real quick, the
Yeah.
West Washington Perry Central game is at West Washington.
Oh, did I say
Friday.
that wrong? I'm sorry.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
you're fine. But no,
Oh,
it's
it's
a great time. It's
Yeah.
a great time.
Yeah. They did, yeah.
The most difficult part of it is just getting in that basket.
The degree
Yeah.
of difficulty.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And you can't be too tall. Hank, you might even be too tall for that because you have to be your height. Because I heard someone say that like your height can be determined. So you could always say, "Well, I would have."
That's
but,
my
you know,
reason then.
That's,
Yeah.
yeah. You know, I'm just too tall to do
Yeah.
this. This is also Guardian Angel Day. Love Guardian Angels. We all need our Guardian Angel with this, don't we? For sure. International Day of Nonviolence. Love that. Wouldn't that be a blessing all year, all the time? International Walk to School Day. Hank, did you ever walk to school years ago?
Nope. Too far away.
Okay. What about you, Luke?
No, too far away.
What about you, Brian?
Same thing. You did though.
I did. Yeah, we lived right
Walk,
up there.
bicycle, everything.
Yeah, I did it all.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And
Some days you ran if you were late.
A lot of days.
Yeah.
A lot of days. But yeah, we lived up there, right there in the neighborhood, right there by the school. And so at that time they didn't have school buses. So it was very cold. I really did. It was such a cold time. Made me, made me a better person, right? This is something that we celebrated all the time, National Custodial Work Day. How important are they? I mean,
Very important.
oh my goodness.
Yeah, they help. As far as my job goes, it's just tremendous. Joe and the guys and girls there, they just they keep us afloat. So they're invaluable.
I think we got the best of the best. I mean, I
agree.
know other schools have good ones, But every one of them, and I know because you guys are high school, or more so, or for sure Lucas, but Hank, you too. But anyway, all you have to do is mention one thing, and they are just, it's crazy how awesome they are. You know what I mean? And then of course the elementary and middle school, all of them covered Salem Community Schools, and they make it look so easy. We don't even realize what all they do. I'm sorry, but I'm really a team for them.
We have a great group, so they do a fantastic job.
Yeah. And they make our schools just shine. It's crazy.
We got some great folks that keep our store looking beautiful too,
You do? Oh, absolutely. Yes, that is true. That floor, I can see my reflection. I fixed my hair many times looking at your floor. National Fried Scallops Day. What about you, Hank? Gonna have fried scallops?
I like fried scallops, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah. Right?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, awesome. Kale Day. What about you, Hank? Kale?
I like kale as well.
Oh, good deal.
Yep.
What about you, Luke?
Kale's okay.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. National Name Your Car Day. Hank, have you got a name for your car?
I do not have a name for my car.
I'm sure that if it has trouble, I'm sure there's names that comes to mind. What about you, Luke?
Nope, no name.
No name. Brad?
No.
Okay. Maybe it's a girl thing. Okay. National Produce Misting Day. Misting Day. Like when you go to the produce and that misting. Like.
That's a national day.
Yeah, I know. I can't get a WSLM day, Hank, and these misters are getting a day. Yeah.
And that's strange because you should do that every day.
Yeah.
Multiple times a day.
Right. Look at that over there. Yeah. National Pumpkin Seed Day. Hank, do you pumpkin seeds?
I do like pumpkin seeds. I don't eat them often, but
I've had them before.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Right. This is also National Smarties Day. We like Smarties?
not a big fan.
Nope, name.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of
No,
those.
it's not my pick. And today is Random Acts of Poetry Day. I don't think anybody be participating. I'm seeing the faces. I'm reading the audience here.
You know in your audience,
I'm
right there.
losing my
No.
audience. They're ready. Okay, here we go. World Farm Animal Day. Luke, what is your favorite farm animal?
That's a good question.
All right. Well, while you're thinking, Hank.
Like to eat or?
No.
That was going to be my question. That's
Okay,
pretty
all right,
good.
now,
That's a
let's
good,
see.
Cow, I guess.
Okay,
That's
all
what I
right.
was going to say as well.
Okay, what about you, Brad?
Well, in honor of you and Angel on Monday, the goats.
The goats, yeah.
The pygmy goats. You know how at the fair, every time we're broadcasting from the fair, they want to come check out
They
and
do.
scream at us the entire time.
You can't out talk a goat. Let me tell you, when that goat gets going. And we were talking about goat yoga. Have you ever seen it where you do yoga and they let out the goats and like the goats will be on you when you're doing the goat. Yeah. It's a thing. You'll have to Google it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've been there and done that. It's not bad, I promise. Mine would definitely be the horse. That would be my farm animal. Or cows. I get a little jealous of their eyelashes. Cows, baby cows, really cute eyelashes. World No Alcohol Day. Very good. So those are some good days. Get out and enjoy for sure. All right. And it is a second day of October. We entered a new month. And of course, over real quick at Walmart, you guys got all your seasons. You've got Halloween
Everything.
covered, the harvest, the Thanksgiving. And we've even dabbled into some Christmas stuff.
Yeah, the Christmas is fully set now, so that's good. But Halloween's going strong, and so we will have candy all the way up through the end of the month. So if you need to plan ahead, which is a good idea, if you need to come in and get a little bit every week, we'll have it all the way through. So
and there's no
it's
shame
good.
if you brought it home and you got it for Halloween and you ate it and you have to go back and get more.
Yeah.
That's okay. You're totally justified. Okay.
Yeah. But we're also ready for game time.
Oh,
Any type of tailgating, anything like that. Any get-togethers, go see the deli. They'll take great care of you.
Yeah.
So
Wings.
yes, wings.
Yeah. Good wings. Yeah.
Wings are always a hit.
Yeah.
So we've got it all going on.
They actually in their deli they actually have they have a folder of me.
An extensive
folder. So it tells exactly. So if I forget what all I usually get, they've got me covered. Yeah.
She walks in and Natalie
Yeah,
has
she
it.
pulls my file.
and that's always good to have.
Hey,
That's always
it
good
works.
to have.
It works.
Yeah.
In my family,
Yeah.
I become the MVP. Let me tell you, and they're the ones doing the work, but I get the
Yeah.
glory for it. So it works out well. So anyway, and your group over there does good.
Yeah.
And Abby called and said, she was trying to figure out whether buttercream or whipped icing. Do you guys have a preference?
I'll leave
With
you
icing.
one. Yeah.
Yeah. So she said, will they let me try it? And I said, go over there. Those ladies would love to let you
Yes.
try it.
But you know, which I didn't know this. I like whipped icing better.
Yeah,
But buttercream decorates better.
absolutely.
The whipped icing runs. I didn't know.
Yeah, you have to keep the whipped cooler.
Yeah,
Yeah. I learned the hard way.
Yeah, Anna was looking at me. It's like, how can you not know that? I was like, well, I know how to eat cake. I don't know how to decorate it. So,
Right.
yeah.
All right. Well, anyway, so you guys, fantastic group over there. All right, let's jump in and find out what all we got going. Well, Luke, let's talk about you, and you've got a new career with us here at Salem Community
Yep.
School Corporation, and happy to have you. And how's it going so far?
It's gone well.
Good.
It's gone real well. You know, we're next week getting into fall break, so first 9 weeks will be under the belt for the year, and you know, it's been a pretty smooth transition. Staff's been great. Kids been really good. So it's gone really well so far.
Was it a little bit of a different transition to come into Salem School Corporation? Because every school is unique.
Yeah, every school's different, you know, and I've been to had a few different stops along my career as
Right.
far as education, and you know, everybody does the same thing, but you know, maybe a little bit different, and that was the big thing coming in, just the unknown and learning, you know, new routines, new schedules, those kinds of things, and trying to learn people, and so yeah, that was an adjustment, but you know, like I said, I've kind of done it a few times as far as you know, different stops along the way, and so it's been a pretty smooth transition, and you know, it's been good.
And Hank, what I thought was awesome about Luke, bragging on you, Luke, when he got hired, you know, it was in the summer, but he jumped right in. I mean, you had to love that work ethic.
Yeah, he's done a tremendous job. Of course, I've known Luke way back when I was coaching, and had the opportunity to coach Luke, and that was years ago. But so that was kind of nice to have that connection, that relationship. But he was actually there, you know, right off the bat. I mean, he was in there every day in the summer, and just kind of getting things, you know, not just coming in and changing everything.
No.
You know, doing, you know, just seeing how things were going, and you know, made some adjustments here or there that I think have been really good adjustments. Just different things, and like I said, just like you said, it's been a pretty smooth transition with us having you know, new principal, new assistant principal, a new counselor, all in the main office there. You know, that could be a recipe for a rough start, and it's been as smooth a start to a school year as we had. Knock on some wood. But,
Well, and a fairly new superintendent. I mean, you
Yes,
know,
yeah,
we got, you know, quite a bit of, you know, and so I mean, that is a lot of everybody trying to understand each other. But does it feel like you're back home?
Yeah, you know,
You were in the wilderness once.
yeah, we were. I was in the Bloomington area once, went to college up there until probably, 2013, 2014. We moved back down, moved to Borden for a couple of years, and then we were back in the county. So, you know, getting back then and then now working up here, you know, it feels like I really never left, honestly, you know, since we're here now. So, yeah, it's been good.
Did you have a lot of your Salem gear already?
I didn't have a lot of Salem gear left.
Okay.
You know, that was 20 years ago. So, but you know, I'm starting to accumulate some now, and it's taking some time. But you kind of take advantage of, or take for granted, being a coach. You know, I was a coach for so many years, of always getting that kind of gear, and you know, you never were short on jackets or hoodies or T-shirts, and now I'm trying to accumulate that now again. So, but yeah, it's we're getting there.
Yeah, I think that's something everybody, you know, wants to, you know and see, and and there's so many cool hoodies and jackets.
Yep.
Yeah. So we're gearing up in this. We're getting ready. We've done the first 6 weeks. Is that right? Or
9 weeks.
9 weeks.
This week.
9 weeks.
Yep.
Yeah.
This one, the 9 weeks this week.
Yeah. And as far as like testing, where are we at? What are we doing? Anything with that or anything?
For the high school, we have PSAT testing next month. We'll also have SAT. We have SAT options for kids that want to test on Saturdays, but then we'll have the actual SAT for juniors in the spring. But we do have PSAT coming up. We did our math and English classes did do NWA testing, so they just wrapped that up. And
Explain what that is, maybe a little bit.
so NWA testing is more of like a diagnostic, kind of shows where kids are at in different categories, kind of gives teachers areas to, maybe help kids improve, if there is kind of a gap there, and it basically just breaks it down by category and allows the teachers to kind of manipulate their instruction to try to help kids increase in certain areas so that they will score better on those tests.
Right.
Yep.
Well, and I think that's, so awesome to have that base where you kind of got to, and then you can keep working on it.
Yeah, so they'll take that again in December, and that'll kind of give them a gauge of how much the kids have improved from the beginning of the school year, and then they'll take it again toward the end of the school year in the spring, kind of see how they how they've improved throughout the school year. And ultimately, it comes down to the SAT anymore, and we do I Learn Biology at the high school. There's no more I-STEP, so our benchmark is the SAT, and so that's kind of what we've geared everything more toward is using the PSAT data and trying to get our kids to improve their scores on the SAT, which is hard. It's a very hard test.
Oh, so. Absolutely. Yeah. And I think too, I think there's a lot of pressure. You feel that way too, trying to make sure that everybody feels the calmness, and when you're going to take a test and you get a little nervous. And
I think the testing has gotten a little better.
Yeah.
I was the testing coordinator a few years ago in my previous job, and we did, it was something every month for high schoolers, and it just became too much. And when it's too much, they don't really take it that serious, so they don't put the effort in. And I think has been scaled back a little bit, and we're kind of trending that direction, which I think is a positive thing. I think when it happens every month, they just don't put the effort in, and it just becomes another test rather than really focusing and putting in time and gearing up for that SAT, which is what we're really focused on now.
Well, and the doing the baseline, if I'm going to use it that way, like testing and kind of knowing, I think is such a great thing, and I think that it also gives them a little bit of ease, because then when they go to do the testing, they've got a little bit more knowledge of some ideas of what's going to be.
Yeah, and the kids can see that they improve, and that
that's
helps
always a big
them.
thing.
Yeah, it helps them. They realize that what they are doing is working, and that helps them put the time in and the work in, because they know it's going to help them.
Right.
So.
Well, and it's cool to hear for maybe those that don't realize what level the high school academics are listeners, and to know how important and I think also we were just talking about how Walmart's got my file, but it's so cool how at Salem Community Schools every student has a file, like information, and you can go back and see where they're maybe they need improvement, and I think that's so awesome to have that.
Yeah, it's definitely beneficial, and something that teachers can utilize and help just drive instruction. From one year to the next, it may be something different you have to focus on in English or math that the kids are struggling in, or maybe there's a gap there, and that's the nice thing about it.
Right. And it's done, and I like the testing for, like, maybe if they need help or they're learning, the way they learn is done at an early age. That elementary, you're kind of like the feeder program brings it in and kind of, shows, and I think we've just gone 100%. I love every bit of it that we've learned at an early age to kind of figure out how everybody learns and learns different.
Yeah, the elementary level is very important for kids to establish just that base of learning and reading. Reading is really important, and math. Just the basic skills of being able to add and subtract and multiply and do all those things that's going to help them down the road, to where when they get to high school, multiplication tables aren't an issue, and some of those other basic skills are not an issue, so they can learn the material presented rather than working on some of those base skills that are lacking. So it's very important for us at the high school level for them to come in with that knowledge. Otherwise, we're working on some skills that are taken away from some of the other things they should be doing, as far as writing essays or projects and things that you would expect out of a high school level class.
Right. Yeah. I think that and everybody complements each other. I think they do a great job. Yeah.
Yep.
For sure. And I'm sure you work with all principals at elementary and middle.
Yep.
That's great. All right, so what else we got going on as far as at the high school level too?
One thing we've been working on with our PLC times, our professional learning communities, is teachers have been meeting with their departments, working on curriculum mapping. Just kind of going through. First step was, what all do we have? Which, most of our core courses we have curriculum maps in place. Some of the other courses that maybe only offer a period, maybe they only offered every other year. Some of those things. So we've been working on just putting all those into a common format, updating those to the new standards, and trying to get things set to where eventually that's going to lead to some more vertical alignment with the middle school and elementary to just make sure that we're all in line and preparing our students the best we can.
Right. And Hank, I'm not leaving you out because I know you're athletic director, but also you've been with the school for years, and it's amazing how it's shifted and brought that we know that not every student's going to be going to college, and
Yep.
And the learning and the way that the job opportunities and getting them prepared and ready for the job that they're ready to go out into,
Yep.
Has really done a big change from the years to years.
Yeah, I think that's awesome that more vocational is being I would say pushed, but encouraged. That's just good for overall the workforce. Like I said, the main goal is to get people out there being young people out there being productive and finding their path.
Yeah, and I think that's something that I want to focus on with the high school is creating some more pathways for students that are going to go into the workforce, into manufacturing, those types of areas. We send a lot of kids to Prosser right now, and we do have an extensive amount of course offerings for dual credit kids, the kids that want to go to college.
Yeah.
But I think one thing I want to do is increase some of those opportunities for students who aren't going to college, that maybe just want to go straight into the workforce, or they're looking for some type of trade skill or trade position. Try to build up some programs within our school to give those kids those opportunities.
Well, and it's nice too because even if you talk to community members, business owners, and find out kind of what kind of skills, what are you looking for?
Mm-hmm.
I know there's been some really good networking in that. Everybody trying to work together to see what kind of how to get the children or the students prepared for what some of the places are looking for.
Yeah, and I think one thing that we're kind of looking at is in growing on our advanced manufacturing that we already have, and maybe possibly some building trades type, construction type down the road, maybe some a healthcare pathway. We're right by the hospital. There's a big need in that right now for nurses and different things in the medical profession. So, those are some things that I think we could move towards and do in the next few years and implement and allow our kids those opportunities and try to get some community partners and do some things that will help and keep our kids here in the county and be able to utilize those skills and things that they developed here with us at high school.
Yeah, I think you couldn't have said it any louder. I'm just talking to so many different people about nurses, how needed we need nurses. We need the LPNs or RNs or even CNAs or whatever career they want. However far they want to go. Those are so needed.
Yeah, definitely.
And of course, construction's always good. These are some really good.
Yeah, and there's a big need for plumbers, electricians. There's a lot of things out there that right
try
now.
To find one.
Yeah, they're in big need and come with great salaries too. And I think that's kind of a misconception that some of these professions they make a good living and like you said, it's hard to find certain positions, and a lot of those guys, if they are working independently, you set your own hours, you can pick the jobs you want to do and those kinds of things. So I think that starting to provide some more of those opportunities. I feel like we once had in our school, and slowly kind of once the push for everybody, trying to push everybody to college, we went through that, and I think now it's you're getting it pushed back the other way a little bit, and just finding a happy medium of we're going to have a certain percentage of kids that want to go to college, and and some that not sure. So we want to provide those opportunities and make sure that they're ready. But then you have another percentage of kids that know, college isn't for me. I want to go into a career. Let's help them be prepared to enter that once they graduate.
Right, and if they know, that's fantastic. But for those that do not know or not 100% sure, we all today could sit and say all the different jobs we've had or where we landed now was not necessarily in the game plan and when we were thinking about it in high school.
Yeah. I think my own story. I wasn't planning on being a teacher and a principal one day. So I went to college as a chemistry major and look where I'm at today. So you never know as far as where you're going to go, and just making sure that you prepare yourself that, if you are going the college route, that you have taken the courses you need, and you have those skills, and really even more the transcript and the resume to get accepted into some of these institutions. So I think that providing opportunities for all kids is important, and trying to grow in some of those areas.
So going back to the senior Luke Salem Community School Luke Dean senior year.
Yeah.
Did you ever think you were going to be the principal?
I did not.
Did you ever think you'd be walking the halls?
I'm sure Hank didn't think that either when he had me as a basketball coach.
Oh, Hank, do you have stories?
Oh, no, nothing I can say on there.
No. No,
yeah,
but
Hank was his first year's head coach was my senior year.
Okay.
So, and he also was my freshman coach, and he was receiver coach for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, so I've known Hank for a while, and I'm sure for him he's had a lot of kids over the years, so it's probably hard to remember much, but
well, that to me has worked out to an advantage. Brad and I talk about that our teachers don't remember everything.
Yeah.
That's a gift from God that they have forgotten some of the things.
And that's it's funny because there's a few of the teachers that are still teaching in Salem that I had, and a couple of them were like, I don't really remember much, and you didn't. And I'm like, good, they didn't remember much. That's a good thing. So
that's right.
So, well, one, that means I wasn't too much trouble, but two, as a kid that you act a certain way, and then as you get older, you're like, man, so.
Yeah, right. Well, I think too, but actually, I'm sure that Hank's very proud, because knowing from a coach's point of view, and knowing that that I'm sure forever, like, there's words that Hank has said as a coach, it's going to be in your head.
Yeah.
Again, he's like, we're not going to talk about that on there.
But there's not, when you have good coaches, I can go back in my, and thoughts, and like there'll be times in my life as an adult here that like something will come back to what a coach said to me, or maybe a teacher or somebody, that was a huge part, and I'm sure that somewhere there's got to be some of the things that you have, your accomplishments, I'm sure, has been encouraging words from Hank, Or,
Yeah, I always enjoyed having Hank as a coach, and I think, that one senior year when he was our head coach, he allowed us to kind of be athletes and just go play, and not box us into like a half-court offense type of thing, and just more freedom and play physical. And I think, I know our group and really enjoyed that, and I think, we had some success that year that we hadn't had the few years before. So that's one of the things that stick out to me. But, football, like I said, he was my receiving coach for 3 years, and a lot of good memories there. And so.
Yeah, I just think it's, and Hank, you elaborate on this too. How awesome it is, somebody that you coached, and then you see where, I'm gonna use this, if this is okay to use, like the cocoon comes into a butterfly, goes into that has to be rewarding and very exciting for you to see.
Oh, very much so. Yeah, that's, when you're involved in any type of activity, whether it's athletics or band, choir, drama, whatever it may be, when you're putting extra time in, and you're working hard, and a lot of people don't see all that stuff. They just see the final result or whatever, and they have expectations. But when you're there, especially as a coach, you get the opportunity to see these young people, put their max into it. And there's some, there's a minimum level that they all have to do, obviously, to be part of it. But then you got, most of them put more than that, and then you got some that even go beyond that. And Luke was one of those athletes in every sport he played, and even in the classroom. So that's one of those things when you got the full package, and not just to brag on him, but he's he's one that's here right now. But I've had plenty of guys like that were just, you knew they were going to be successful at whatever they decided to do, because you could count on them on the court or the field, and you knew they were going to be on time, and by on time meaning early. You knew they were going to put extra work in afterwards. You knew they had a competitive spirit, but doing it the right way. Those are the kind of things that you see as a coach, and that's kind of what makes you proud too. Is obviously you want to win, that's no doubt, but you also want to see and hope that these young athletes become quality, productive citizens.
Right.
And what path they go on, you never know, but they're going to be successful. And we've got all kinds of guys I can just sit here and just ramble on about that have done really well for themselves. And again, as far as going into the whether I saw him being a principal or whatnot, that probably wouldn't have popped in my head, but I definitely would have seen him in the education field and coaching.
Mm-hmm.
We used to do the park and rec. We'd run and coach those things and have camps and stuff like that. And like I said, I've always had a lot of guys who were really good. You see some that just, it wasn't their comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
And those would be the guys that would surprise you if you saw them advance in the educational ranks. And Luke was one of those guys. He's one of those guys that was good with kids, and you kind of see just how they are on the floor, whether they're a leader, then that just kind of transpires. It just becomes a natural, and you see that a lot of principals throughout the state were former head coaches, and it's just one of those leadership type things that it's ingrained in them. They have a knack for it, and it's something they just kind of, regardless what field they go into, they just kind of somehow move their way up into a leadership program or part.
Right. Definitely. Well, that's awesome for sure. Oh, I thought you were saying something, Brad. Okay.
No.
Go ahead.
So, we'll put you on the spot, and that's what I do here on Education Wednesday. I put the guests on the spot. So, you said when you were a chemistry major, that's what you thought you were going to do. So, what was the light bulb? Was there a light bulb moment in between that and when you decided, I think I want to go into education?
Yeah, I got into coaching, started coaching, actually at Eastern Green, their very first year of varsity football, and I was still in college and really enjoyed it, really enjoyed being with the kids and just, coaching and in general, and coaching and teaching go hand in hand, and that's kind of how it started for me. And I went back and at mid-semester and added education, and actually finished out a double major, but not. I actually do have a chemistry degree, and I added education, and there were a couple of hoops to jump through at the end, and I just I met the criteria for both, but did graduate with a chemistry degree. When I was done with college, I was kind of looking around and unsure of what I was going to do. I felt like if I was going to do the chemistry route, I had to do that right away, because there's just so much that you forget quickly when you're not working in that realm. My goal was to be a quality control chemist and work in that field. Really was looking at pharmaceuticals. Funny story, my wife now, which was my girlfriend then, had interviewed at Eastern Green for a cheerleading position for middle school. They called her and asked her if I had a job yet, if I was teaching, because I had a student taught there and coached there. They ended up calling me, and they had a science opening, and I'd been applying to a few places locally that I really wanted to work, try the chemist thing, and they called me and wanted me to come over for an interview and wanted me to coach football, and so I did it. And a month later, the company that I really wanted to go to for the chemist position called me and for an interview, and I told them I already got a job. So here I am today, 20-some years later, still in education, and it's gone really well, and I've enjoyed it. So that's why I've stuck with it.
And you got the girl.
Yep, and I got the girl. So, but yeah, that's kind of how it went for me, and I'm glad, because it's led me back here, and with the family I have, and it's going really well. I couldn't ask for anything different.
You have a beautiful family. You have 2 boys.
2 boys. Yep. I got an 8th grader and a 5th grader, and my wife, she worked in education as well. She now works for an ed tech company, but she is also an educator. So.
Yeah, wonderful support group you've got. Yeah. So as far as education, do you feel like education, and Hank, you joined in here too, has changed throughout the years? I mean, like we're talking about a little bit like extracurricular activities too. Whether it's band, whether it's volleyball, tennis, baseball. I don't want to leave anybody out. Soccer, football, basketball. Whatever. A guitar club. All of the different activities, archery, many great things. But do you find that it's hard to get students sometimes to do the extras on that? Are we battling that because there's so many things going on? I feel like there's more things going on in this world today than what years ago we used to have. I mean, right?
Yeah, I'll start on that one.
Yeah.
I agree on that. I think, you know, it's easy for us to look back when we were in school, you know, and that kind of stuff, and but it is different. There's a lot more, I don't want to call them distractions, but there's just different things, different opportunities for kids, and at earlier ages, they find something different. Back, you know, years ago, you know, we rode our bikes all over the place, and the entertainment was we went to our friend's house and a group of us got together, played basketball, played wiffle ball, played football, whatever it may have been, went swimming, whatever. You know, I think there's just a lot of reasons that has kind of changed. You know, and then, you know, there's a lot of opportunities for more so, like I look at the clubs that we offer.
Yes.
I don't remember a club, you know, they had the Spanish club, they had the, you know, business club, they had that kind of thing that met like once a month. Yeah, and so that was about it, but they didn't have all these opportunities that we offer. And maybe we don't get as many kids, but we are able to, it doesn't, even if it's just a couple of them that are involved, it's something that they either enjoy or they might learn to enjoy. But you know, back in the day, I think there probably would have been a lot more involvement in that. You know, you look at athletics, and we're not the only school like that. You look at some of these bigger schools, they don't have as many kids as used to coming out. It used to be you had to make cuts at every level. Now we're hoping we got enough to field a team in some sports. And you know, and that fluctuates each year as well. You know, let's just take soccer for instance. There's been a few times where we didn't know if we're going to have enough kids to make a soccer team, and you know, this year for like say boys, we got 22 kids, I think it is. So you know, it kind of fluctuates. But there's just different interest levels. I think you know, and this is just my soapbox thing, but I think, you know, a lot of the travel sports and summer, I say open up the summer just free for all. I think that's hurt a lot as well, because I think some kids are getting tired. It's year round now. It's always been a year round for those that are real serious, you know, but you know, 7 months of it or 8 months of it was them working on their own. You know, that now it's almost a full year round that you know, coaches are working with kids, and you know, and then they're starting out earlier. You know, second grade. You know, I played baseball. That was it. You know, and then I had my summers off, and you see, you know, kids are involved now, and they are excited about it. You see the level of excitement for them, and some of them from second grade on are spending their spring breaks and their summer breaks traveling all these baseball games or volleyball games or basketball games, and what I'm seeing is pretty large numbers at that age, but by fifth grade a lot of them are dropped out. I think, you know, it's kind of like by the time you were a senior in high school, some people, you know, a lot of kids are like, okay, I'm about ready to be done with, you know, I want to move on to that next phase of my life. Well, now it seems like that's happening around fifth grade, sixth grade. So the result is we don't see as much participation when you get to middle school and high school. It used to be a big excitement for sixth grade because you could try out for the first school sport. And now, like I said, a lot of these have already started out earlier and they're just kind of done with it.
So is that a lesson for parents not to overschedule their kids, or not to make it as intense, I guess, for lack of a better word, when they're younger, or just try to find a good mix?
There's got to be a good mix, because you know, it's one of those things where, you know, if you don't do anything, you worry about, you know, keeping up with the Joneses. Well, these other kids are getting, and there are some that come through and stay with it the entire time, and you can see the difference in them. They're a lot of times their skill level and their so it's one of those things that, you know, it gets kind of, it does get kind of out of control. And if it's something that the family loves to do, then that, you know, that's, how do you tell a kid no when he wants to do that? Or she. Like I said, volleyball has become a huge one right now as far as the travel and the club and all that. So I'm not saying it's a total evil by any means.
No.
But it just seems like it's gotten way out of. And as a result, I think you see some of that in the stands with the fans. You know, because when you see, and my experience mostly was AAU, like my son. You know, he didn't really start that until sixth grade. And when you go to those games, they're not well maintained, they're not well managed. Sometimes they got officials out there that aren't even licensed officials, you know, and they're doing 10, 12 games a day, so
Sure.
they're tired,
Yeah.
and you see parents just getting out of control.
Mhm.
Well, then that's just kind of bred that's the way it's supposed to be, and now you see that move up to the school ball,
Yeah.
up in the stands, and again, that's everywhere. It's not just Salem. You see that everywhere. It's across the nation. That's one of the big talking points for, you know, all these conferences I go to for athletic director conferences is that type of mentality. It's the travel ball mentality up in the stands.
It's very interesting. I appreciate you sharing that with us, because I've heard a lot of parents from other schools too talking about this, you know, and this is something that, you know, and I'm kind of, you know, from the philosophy, I like when they hit, you know, maybe some elementary, middle and high school, to try different things, see what they like. You know what I mean? You know, you never know if football's your thing, or basketball, or
Right.
baseball, or whatever. Try it all. But I've also heard parents talking about what you're kind of talking about. But it's interesting to hear from an athletic, you know, from a professional, you know, how, or, you know, ideas, or what, or possibly, you know, possibilities there. Yeah.
And you hit it right there too. A lot of it, when you see them start out early, they'll start specializing.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know,
Yeah.
I think that traces back like Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
You know, once everybody heard the story of Tiger Woods coming up, and then that's when they started, you know, you start seeing them like, okay, well, we're going to really focus. Golf became a huge thing at that point.
Yeah.
I'm going to just put my kid in golf because that's where all the scholarships are. Everything's about a scholarship.
Yeah.
And the reality of it, very few get scholarships. But now you see them, I'm just going to do baseball, or I'm just going to do softball, and like you said, the day of, a lot of them just say, oh, you know, 6th grade, I'm going to try out for volleyball, I'm going to try out for basketball, I'm going to try out for swim. You just don't see that as much as you used to, because they've kind of specialized.
Yeah. Which I would like for them to try it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You don't have to, you know what I mean?
Right.
You don't have to, if you find out that it's not what for you, then that's fine. But try it. Just try it and see. Remember the days, I'm going to date myself, Luke, you probably don't remember this, when it used to, like, Bo Knows, remember whenever he could do, Bo Knows, remember he could do basketball, he could do or football and basketball, yeah. I mean, he was just well-rounded, and I think that's kind of cool too. So I think it's, and you know, I know because you're the athletic director, we're talking sports, but in class, and also in the other groups too, you know, the other groups that people are part of, you know, the students are part of too. You know, you have to, everything has to be well-rounded, and again, every child's an individual. So therefore, you know, if that student is still like, you know, let's do it, and loving every bit of it, that's fine. But if they are noticing, I think that's where the parents have to kind of gauge where they're at.
Yeah, no, I agree. And like I said, we do offer a lot of activities. We got a lot of clubs.
Yeah.
So many, I don't even know what all we have now, but we
Yeah.
have a wide range of things. So there's archery club is going pretty strong
Yeah.
right now. You know, it's just
It's really cool too.
Yeah, and the guitar club, and there's just so many different ones that, you know, there are things for options for kids to get involved in something, or at least try something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that, and I hope they, you know, I feel like, I don't know if I'm going to go back to TV again. Remember on the Brady Bunch when Marsha signed up for every club. I mean, you know, try them and see, you know, you never know, you know, it's kind of a check the box and see if it's something for you. But I think that's good as far as, but I think now with so many different options, you have to be careful too that it's not all the time going and doing it. You know?
Yeah, just like to see people have some family vacation time. And
family time.
Yeah, IHSA is
me too.
actually implementing this year. We have a moratorium week, which is you got a full week that you can't do anything with the kids in the summer. And it's the 4th of July week. And that every family at least knows they got that week for vacations, and their kid won't miss, you know, anything in the summer. They've just added 5 more days. So basically we're going to have 2 weeks of moratorium. So I think that's great. That's a step in the right direction as far as you know, kind of slimming down the summer that all schools have to abide by. You know, it's going to be one of those things. Like we could say, hey, we're not doing any summer stuff, but you know, when everybody else is doing it, that's going to come back to haunt you. So it's kind of good that the IHA is stepping up there a little bit, and hearing some of the concerns that we've had as ADs and principals and school leadership, that, you know, we need to get these kids back with their families a little bit, and, you know, just give them some downtime. You know.
Yeah.
I think something that's kind of been lost over the years is focusing on skill development and just becoming a better athlete, working on movements and strength and conditioning and those types of things in the summer. It's gone to more, like you mentioned earlier, Hank, the keeping up with the Joneses is you're trying to, you feel like you got to do this and do that, play these amount of games and do this kind of scrimmage stuff in the summer. And I think what's been lost in the mix is just improving yourself as an athlete and getting stronger and honing in, skills that are important to whether you're playing basketball or football or baseball. Just from a former, head coach perspective, the summers were always a battle because I always felt like as a football coach, the summer was my preseason, and I've got athletes that are playing basketball and baseball, and I want them to be multi-sport athletes. I always push them to do that. But at the same time, it's you see these kids having to go to 3 practices or 3 events a day in the summer, and it's like at some point, how do we revert back to something that's scaled down to where kids can be kids, and like Hank mentioned, have more time with their family and those kinds of things. And I think that's something that hopefully we'll see that continue to trend that way. And I think the reason we've gotten to this point with IHSA sports specifically is because of the club and the travel. Coaches were like, well, if I can't be with our kids in the summer, I can't work with them, then they're going to be with some other AAU coach or some other travel coach that's going to be working with them instead. And I think that's kind of what led us to this point of the summers feeling. I always felt we were a little bit out of control, to be honest, as far as just practices and scrimmages and games and different things. And you feel like you have to do it as a coach, because if you don't, you're getting behind. And I honestly, in my last few years, I started scaling that back and just doing more of the strength conditioning stuff in the summer, and then turning, once we got into July, focusing more on some football stuff, just because it felt like, week 5, you hit week 5 of the season and you already played a whole season because you did it all summer. So trying to bring back some of that excitement of the first day of putting on pads and doing some of those things. I know Coach Gleasing does that now. As far as in the summer, they don't get their helmet, they don't get their shoulder pads, and just trying to generate some of that excitement to put that stuff on and let kids be kids in the summer. I think that's important. And honestly, I've asked a lot of coaches this. Do you feel like the product that we're putting out there is better than it was 20 years ago when we didn't have so much summer stuff? So I think it's important to. And I like that the IHSA has incorporated a second moratorium week in the summer.
Kind of piggyback off that, because it's 100% correct. One of the other things I've noticed too, especially when I was coaching, is a loss didn't seem to affect like it used to. You got to think, going back to when we were in school, you had 20-game season, but you had to wait. Once you lost that sectional game or whatever level it was, you didn't get to play as a team again until November, when you started practicing again, or late October at that time. Once they added the summer stuff, now, and I caught myself doing it too, and we slimmed down a lot towards the last couple of years that I was coaching. Started looking at it. We played a full season. We played 20 games in a season before sectional. I played 21 in a couple of summers in 3 weeks. And it's like, wait a second, what are we getting out of this? And then now you add the AAU stuff, and a lot of people doing travel. They're playing 60 to 80 games sometime in the spring through July, and some now are playing in the fall as well. They're getting together and playing in the fall. I think these kids now are playing your 22-game schedule is what it is now, plus 20-some game schedule in the summer. It's 40-some games. You add their AAUs that are probably 60 games, because they play multiple 4 or 5 a day sometimes. So now what used to be exciting about, you had to wait, chomping at the bit to be able to put that uniform back on. You're doing it. You've played so many games now. A loss doesn't even mean as much, because you're going to play tomorrow or you're going to play 2 hours later. It used to be a loss that's really sunk in on you and hurt, and it feels like that level of you're getting you're going to play a bunch more games.
Right.
Where before this is what you were guaranteed, and so I do think that has a lot that's changed it.
I agree. Yeah, you wore me out just hearing all those games, but it's true.
It's true.
I mean, it's true. Everything you're saying. Yeah, and that just, it's a lot. Yeah, for sure. And I think, I think everybody in the room, we all are about family, and I love family time. And I know as a mom of 6 daughters, I would always be hollering for family time. You know what I mean? Making sure, So I think that it's good to hear though from a different perspective, and maybe for those that have thought about it but just never really just very interesting for sure. Luke, going back on when you as principal, what are some of the things I think that you have done maybe a little made it because everybody's unique, made your principal made it Salem Schools your walking the halls, getting to know the kids, meeting with the teachers, getting from
Yeah, like Hank kind of mentioned, I've tried to come in and my goal is to come in and just, observe and learn processes, learn people, and make some subtle changes. One thing that myself and Mr. Carr, our assistant principal, we make a point to get in the classrooms every week. He'll take half, I'll take the other half, and we pop in for 5 to 10 minutes and try to just get a gauge on what's going on, and that's helped us learn the students and learn our staff, and we have a lot of great things going on in classrooms. I've been really impressed with our teaching and our students in the classrooms, so that's been good. That's one thing we've put an emphasis on, and I think that's somewhat new to them. I don't feel it's fair to pop in and do an evaluation on a teacher for 30 minutes once a semester, and that's the only time they see me in the classroom. So I like to get in there and just see, and sometimes I'll stay longer because it's really interesting, and sometimes we have other things we have to do and can't stay as long, but I think that's been the one thing. But I'm more discipline based. I think that's just something I've always been as a teacher and a coach, and we've really been emphasizing on enforcing the handbook and following rules, and trying to keep kids where they're supposed to be and those kinds of things. So I think those are some positive changes that I think most would probably have recognized. But it's been going really well, and like I said, I don't want to come in and just change everything and change this and that. It's come in and see how things are working and tweak them, and we have tweaked a few things as far as just where kids go in the mornings and at lunchtime, and things of that nature, just making sure we have supervision, and we've added homeroom back in, and we added one day this 9 weeks, and just another opportunity for clubs to meet and do different meetings and things. And also it's a time where we've emphasized different things in the handbook and had meetings with different grades. So Mr. Carr and myself, we started the year off meeting with each grade level during homeroom, talking to them about certain things, just introducing ourselves, those types of things. After fall break, we're going to implement another day. We're going to add another day of homeroom, just talking with our teachers, and a lot of the kids, like Mr. Whedon said, they're active in these clubs, and they're in multiple clubs, and it's hard sometimes because then they're having to pick. So we're implementing a second day, and we also have other groups that come in that for class rings or for cap and gowns and different things that we have to utilize that homeroom time for meetings. So we're going to add the second day after fall break. We're going to bump our 8 o'clock bell back 5 minutes. Just little things to try to make the day go smoother, and making sure that we have supervision, and that the kids are where they're supposed to be. So I think that's probably the main thing at this point. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know that.
Yeah. Well, you're trying different things. You know what I mean?
Well, and I think the key is everything's different, a little different where we go. You go,
Absolutely.
and we talked about that earlier. And my goal is just come in and kind of observe and make subtle changes, and down the road, some of the things I want to do, like I told you, is build out some of the programs that we don't have that I feel like would be very beneficial to our students and our community. So.
Piggybacking on that a little bit, like from an HR perspective, when I hire somebody, and especially a leader, and I always tell them, you got to make the job your own. You got to acclimate. So, but one thing that you were talking about, things that you want to do, most people do, a 6-month plan, a 12-month plan, where you see your leadership going, or things like that. From day one to now, I know we're early in the year and early in your tenure here, but has your plan changed any? Is there anything that you've seen that you go, oh, well, maybe this might be what I want to do, or any? I know you said subtle changes, but is there anything that you think may work better in your plan?
Well, and that's kind of the thing. when you come into a new school, there's so many different just processes and schedules and just little things that you're learning, and that's really what I've kind of tried to focus on, just the processes and those kinds of things, and trying to make the day run smoother, but also long term looking at programming as far as add some things for our students that I feel would be beneficial. And when I took the job, I didn't know all the programs. You don't know all the things that are offered, and you're basically going off of what's on the website, and you don't put everything on the website. So getting in and learning that, and I think some of the things that I thought were valid as far as just I want to build up some of the programs that I feel like will benefit our kids that aren't on that college track, because I feel like we have that side. We have those dual credit opportunities. We have students that graduated last year with an associate's, and that's an area too that we want to increase that number, because we have a lot of kids that are close to that aren't obtaining it, but we would like to get them out the door with that associate's degree, because it saves them a lot of money, and they're already 2 years ahead going into their field. So that's really kind of where I'm at. I'm really kind of waiting to see what the graduation requirements are, because the state is releasing new graduation requirements. They've kind of released a rough draft, so we're kind of waiting to see how that final draft looks, and then I'll have a better idea of kind of how to proceed forward, and some of the ideas that I have, how those would fit in those new graduation requirements. So,
well, I think we got so many great things. It's and the world that Luke, you and Hank are in, the school corporation. Brad and I are on the outside. You know what I mean? Of course, I do dabble on the school board, but I do know. But I'm saying but the everyday, and that's where I love that you are realizing. We could tweak this. Let's change this a little bit, and that's where. And I think it's important too to let the community know, how much I think work and I guess conversation and time is put into making our students the best they can possibly be, and well-rounded and ready to go. I think Salem Community Schools, we could take a student and put them against anybody in the state in a room, and if a judge didn't know who came from which school, we would hold right up there.
Yeah.
And that's something that I think we should be very proud of at Salem Community Schools.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that working on that and changing, like you're saying, and maybe seeing what direction. I love the idea. I love the new vision, and seeing what works. And we know every class is different too.
Yeah.
And you're talking, and I know we try not to go too back to COVID, but you're talking these students now were in middle school. Mm-hmm. That's kind of an awkward time in a life in middle school. Brad and I talked about.
Yeah.
Thank goodness there was not social media when we were in middle school, right?
Yeah.
But so they've kind of gone through, and now they've adjusted, and I like the idea of just seeing some new ideas, and I like the homeroom. I think that's good. That's kind of stability, bringing everybody together right? You feel?
Yeah, and it provides opportunities during the day for those clubs to meet and do some things because after school a lot of other kids are in sports, or they're in band, or something else extracurricular, to where after school they don't have that time to they can meet. So providing that homeroom time, and like I said, it also provides time for us to as administrators, if we want to meet with a grade, or if we are bringing a group in, we're going to have Prosser come in and talk to our sophomores, and just different opportunities that you can use that time. I didn't feel like it was necessary every day, and I met with the staff and told them, hey, we're going to start on a 1 day a week, and we'll reevaluate down the road and see, do we need more days, or are we using this time wisely, and just kind of go from there. And so far it's gone well, and I think that the staff has used the time well, and the kids have utilized it too. So.
Well, I know I'm going to go down a different path, but let's talk about the free lunches, and free food, free meals. How wonderful that is, at Salem Community Schools.
Yeah, it's great.
I'm not going to have every time Salem Community Schools come on this air, and we're going to talk about the free lunch. I just think that is I'm just over the moon about this.
Yeah, as a parent, it's nice too, because
you're
not having to I didn't give them, they don't have money in their account, or I forgot to give them lunch money.
Yeah.
So it's very beneficial for our students and families, and I will say our kitchen staff is great. Our high school staff, they They make really good food. They put time and effort, energy into it, and they want to make sure that it is good. And you know, our participation rate as far as students getting lunch is very high, and that's a direct reflection of what they're putting out there. So they do a great job of preparing, and you know, it's when you have people that care what they're putting out there, that makes all the difference, and you can tell they care, and they want it to be good, and I think it's great.
Yeah, hats off to them. Yeah, they do a great job. Yeah,
and they put a lot of time into it. You know, they really do.
Yeah,
they come in early in the morning, and you know, they do. They really put time into it, and you can tell.
Yeah, that's for sure. Very happy about that. And I think, you know, we used to talk about that. You know, if a child was hungry, how could you do chemistry? How could you do math? You know, how can you, whenever you're hungry, it's hard to focus, especially, you know, before a test, you know. So it's a blessing that we offer that. I just think that's, and hats off to Karen on that, working hard on that, and the whole crew. So, and a big shout out again to our custodians. Today is National Custodian Day. Thank you for all you do at Walmart, School Corporation, and all of that, and keeping everything. I always like to see what kind of chemicals what are they using, because they always have the smells, the clean. You know what I mean? I like to see what's the latest and the greatest.
And that's what, like I said, there's so much that goes behind the scene that we talk about chemicals. They're always looking to see what's the next stuff that, you know, and and so I'll go in there once in a while running a tournament. I got to mop up a thing on the floor, so I got to relearn it, because I'm looking, there's like 4 or 5 different options on the dispensers, and it's like, okay, which one's this one now?
Is this for the floor? Or is this
so there's, and they always get they try to get the top of the line, but there's a lot behind the scene. Bus drivers, the kitchen staff, the custodians. There's, you know, a lot of work goes in, a lot of care for the kids that people don't see.
I agree. You're 100% right, and it's all, you know, and everybody together. But Luke, keep up the great work. I like the meetings. I like you're talking about, you know, getting that, you know, talking with everybody, keeping everybody, you know, in the know. That's wonderful. You're doing a great job. I am over the moon about your discipline. I think you do a great job on that, and hearing great things behind your back, which is good, right?
Yep.
And I hope that that you enjoy your 9 week, or when you get your vacation. Hopefully you'll get some family time. I'm sure your wife and children will be very excited about that.
Yep, we're excited.
Yeah, and Hank, you too. Yeah, hopefully. I know a lot of times it's tendency to go back into the school, but hopefully you'll take your time off and enjoy getting away, maybe, or at least time off.
Yep, we'll do.
And Hank, keep up the great work, and we're heavy into the football. We've doing good, and exciting season.
Hopefully this week here we'll have probably the first time we've had most of our players. We've had the injury bug and sick bug, so, you know, it's been kind of mixing in some young guys and some different people out in different positions. So hopefully this week be a good rival game with Eastern, and like I said, we've had a lot of our teams have had good success this year. Our boys cross country has done tremendous. As a team and as individuals. Our girls don't have enough for a team to qualify as a team, but our individuals are doing really well and really young in that group. You know, boys soccer's had a tremendous season, so, you know, all of them are out there working hard and doing good things and getting better.
And it's hopefully, you know, we can get all these sports in with the weather, right?
Yep, that's right.
Well, thank you, Hank Whedon, and thank you, Luke Dean. Keep up the great work. Salem Community Schools, very proud. And
giving hope to C students everywhere. The Rick and Bubba Show.
A brand new hour begins. Speedy, the real Greg Burgess, Adler, all here. As we get another one rolling, welcome back, Bill Bubba Buster.
Rick, glad to be here, and thank all of you for joining us. It is the little party we call Rick and Bubba.
So a couple of things, and we'll get into other things going on in the world. Those of you that are hoarding toilet paper, everybody keeps trying to make the point. I don't think that even if the dock workers go on strike, that affects toilet paper. I don't know why y'all obsess over toilet paper.
Ever since the pandemic, you remember that?
Why are you grabbing all the toilet paper? It is, from what we've got some people sending us figures. We think the amount of toilet paper we import is a little over 7%.
Yeah, 7%, just round figures, 7%. So we homegrown 93%.
You know, we still do make. I know it doesn't seem like we make anything
plants
here
in Alabama that make toilet paper.
We're not going. The only way we run out of toilet paper is if y'all hoard it.
Right. Right.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Calm down.
You don't need a whole room of toilet
Being
paper.
a pine tree farmer, I love toilet paper.
Oh, come on, man.
I say, whoa.
Whoa.
All right, so let's go to another place that's got a lot of you wigging out, and that's Israel. Of course, things are always a little volatile in the center of the universe. So Israel's military preparing for a significant retaliation, shocking attack, they're calling it, by Iran. 200 ballistic missiles streak across the Middle East and rain down on Israel for them what was last night. And the Iron Dome did a good job, as usual. We haven't had any casualties reported. Now, this is, you got to keep up with all the retaliations, okay?